Okay, peace and blessings to everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today, man. Today we are back with another video on us helping our journey with walking with the Lord, the Most High, Father Yahweh, and also our brother Jesus Christ. Now, today we're gonna be talking about, well, first of all, peace and blessings to everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today, man. But first of all, we're gonna talk about something real when it comes to, seeking God and things. Because, once we start trying to seek God, that's when the attacks really start to happen on ourselves. It could be either ourselves attacking ourselves, or it could be the people around us or the environment around us trying to attack us. To always remind us that, we're not who we think we are, but God knows who you are. And the reason you are even being called is because God knows who you are. So first of all, when it comes to walking with God, it's going to be a lot of, I wouldn't say doubt, but a lot of trying to look back. Because first of all, you're starving your flesh, and it's out with the old, in with the new. And you know what makes you uncomfortable? Doing things that are new. So today's video is going to be about 5 steps to help focus on God in the future with walking with God. And when it comes to that, like I said, it's going to be a lot of looking back. But God says any man that puts his hand to the plow and look back is not fit for the kingdom of God. And he's saying this because he doesn't want us to turn around and be like Lot's wife. Now, I never understood why she turned into a pillar of salt until I really started getting older. Because I'm like, why did they always talk about her turn into a pillar of salt when she looked back? What is the significance of her looking back? It was in her heart that she still loved Sodom and Gomorrah as it was being burned, and she was left behind because of that. And her looking back was the message of, in her heart, she feel bad for the things that are going on. She still loved what was in Sodom and Gomorrah. She still loved the people, the city, and things like that. And when she turned back, she was worried about that instead of focusing on being with Lot and God and things like that. And that is what God was trying to teach us, because she knew how evil it was. She knew the things that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah, and she was ready to return back to that vomit. Flesh was eating her up from that. And this is the message that God is trying to tell us today. Stop returning back to our vomit. Stop looking back at our vomit. Out with the old, in with the new. So the first thing we're going to be focusing on is renewal. And God speaks on this so much. And the reason I got patience, because you're going to need an insane amount of patience with yourself, with God, and with the people around you. Your environment. You're going to need everything that is patient. You have to be patient in love, patient in meekness, temperance. You have to be patient, because first of all, we got to look at the word renewal. Everything that we're going to be doing to try to follow God is going to be new to us, because you got to think about the times where you wasn't even thinking about God, and everything that he's going to be telling you to do, as far as, picking up your cross daily and denying yourself and stuff like that, it's going to be new to you, and it's going to be very uncomfortable. But God says in Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Now, he said, be not conformed to this world. Now, you got to understand, before you even thinking about God, you were already in darkness. And it's going to be hard, because first of all, you're still going to be doing, I'm telling you 100% up right now. When God came to me, I was definitely still doing the same things that were not of God, but of my flesh. But he was starting to be in my mind more. He was starting to transform my heart more. He was starting to, open my eyes more to him and help me take accountability and have awareness, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, of the situations I keep putting myself in. I was committing adultery a lot. I was fornicating, you know, doing multiple other things, you know, dealing with anger and things like that. Just doing a lot of things that I was already doing in my past while trying to have God in my mind. So I was I was in the middle of becoming lukewarm. And you got to understand that when you, when you lukewarm, it's better to be lukewarm than to be completely like spiritually dead, because you still have a chance. God doesn't approve of you being lukewarm, because you can't play two sides. You know, you can't have two masters. You can't serve two masters. But it's better to be lukewarm than to be completely spiritually dead, because at least you thinking of God. I promise you, at least 95% of this world does not think of God. And once you really start to like get into this type of stuff, you will see that your discernment is going to be built up so high that you will see that it's going to feel like you're going to feel so alone, like nobody's actually trying to follow God. And it's going to make it harder and harder for you to want to follow God, because you're going to want to fit in. You're going to miss the times of you fitting in. You're going to miss the times of you, you know, having at a point in time, you know, living your best lie. And I say lie, not life. Living your best lie was the best moments of your life. But when you start to get in, you know, the scriptures and the word and building a relationship with God, you're going to start to see that this was actually way better for me. And that's what your renewal is. You're going to start doing everything new. And especially when it comes to starving your flesh, it's not going to feel right, because it's new to you. But that's what God says in Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Awareness and accountability. Now I put awareness and accountability because, first of all, we got to understand that once you start trying to take accountability, responsibility, it's time to become aware of everything that's around you and of yourself. What triggers you into sin? Because once you start trying to follow God, that's when you're a threat to Satan's kingdom. 100%. He's going to be throwing so many. Okay, for example, for people that stuck, you know, watching Pornhub. Once you start trying to get away from it, that's when you start having sexual dreams. Or now dating apps. Say you never been on a dating app before, but you always, you know, you used to fornicate, you used to commit adultery and things like that. Now all of a sudden dating apps popping up on your whatever. You never searched up a dating app or anything. Now all of a sudden dating apps popping up, more girls popping up. You know, it's just a, you know, Satan trying to keep you in his kingdom, because first of all, lust is one of the biggest things that keep us away from God. It makes you spiritually dead the quickest. It's your life force. And if you two people are dwelling in that, it brings so much pleasure that's all you want to have. And pleasure is pleasure. But you got to understand, pleasure is temporary happiness. And it might not even be happiness at all. It might be just something that you want to give out. You feel me? Just to feel good. Feeling good is not always happiness. But I say awareness and accountability because you got to understand that it starts with you. And once it starts with you, he's going to start with everything around you to show you that you know better than nobody else, but you are. At the same time, you're not, but you are. Because you got to understand that every human is just like you, but you can be chosen from God to be that example of how to live a better life as a human. You feel me? So in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. You see what I'm saying? As a roaring lion walketh about seeking whom he may desire. So what does that even mean? You gotta understand that in order to be aware of things, you got to be sober, be vigilant. You always got to be paying attention to these things. I'm going to share something with y'all. When I first started getting into this, I was watching a lot of prophetic videos. You know, I always had God in the back of my mind, but I wasn't even opening the Bible. I wasn't opening his word to build a relationship with him, right? It started with prophetic videos, but the prophetic videos that I was watching were definitely so sent from God, because every single one that I was watching, it was happening the next minute. For example, I'm watching a video of how to know if you have a rebellious woman in your life. Dude, when I watched this video, tell me why she was every sign from the Bible of a rebellious woman. And it's like, whoa, how can I have not understood this? And this is a person I've been with for years. And I'm like, I have not understood this, because first of all, I was already in darkness with her. We were equally yoked. But once God opened my eyes, that's the exact moment we became unequally yoked, because the things that I started to follow, she would not do. And still to this day, she still don't do. But this is not condemning or judging anyone, because first of all, we all were in darkness once, and God has his battle with each and every person. But I started to take accountability within myself, changing myself no matter what, because you gotta understand, God also says be blameless. So from this point on of me following God, if I continue to follow the correct path and she continue to mess up, that makes me blameless in this situation. But at the same time, it also could help her, you know, see what I'm doing. But that's up to her to want to follow. That's up to her to open up her ears and eyes onto what the Lord is trying to bring. And you want to know something so crazy? The prophetic videos I watch, you do not watch at all. And I seen God come to her and she ignored him. I seen God come to her because, first of all, your phone and stuff follows an algorithm, right? I was never looking up God before. Ever. And it literally, once like I started to wake up, I was never searching up God or anything, and it just started popping up. Once it popped up on her phone, she just ignored it. It got right back to, you know, the seamless scrolling between other people's life, comparing, I want this, I want that, just being carnal minded. But like I said, this is not about condemning anyone or anything. That was just an example of, you know, some real testimony that happened in my life, and it scared me. But at the same time, I felt so awake, I felt so alive, because I'm like, bro, this is really real. And it gives you the best feeling ever. I promise you, it gives you the best feeling ever. But like he said in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Okay, we got to understand that. Okay, another one, y'all. Forgiveness. And this one is really hard. You know, you got to first of all, when it comes to forgiveness, right? You got to be willing to accept God's forgiveness and to forgive others and also yourself. And to start that off, in 1 Corinthians 10:13, he says, there have no temptation taken you but such as common is to man. It's common to man. Apologies. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Now, God is faithful. We got that part right. But what about when it comes to forgiving others and yourself? It also says, you know, if you don't forgive others, that you will lose the forgiveness from God. Because you also got to understand that you don't know how many things you did to other people that they're not forgiving you on, You don't know how many things you did to yourself that you not forgiving yourself on. And you don't know how many things you did to God, the one who created you and still got you breathing every day, that you did against him, that he is still forgiving you on. So how could you really sit up here and say you can't forgive nobody for what they sin against you, but you don't even understand that you sin against yourself, God, and other people each and every day, whether it's willingly or unwillingly? It's one thing we got to work on. But this forgiveness is one of the biggest steps, because in order to focus and continue on with your future with God, you have to understand that if you don't forgive something, you are living in the past. In order for you to surrender to God and submit to him, whatever you're not forgiving something on, whether it's yourself, another person, or God, you are not moving on in life. And you don't understand how much stuff dwells within us, how much trauma, drama, how much things we think on every day that it's not letting us move forward. That's not letting us level up in the next life. You got to really understand that first of all, everybody is human. Others are more evil, others are more good. But at the end of the day, you can be that person. You could be that evil or good person. But today I'm telling you to choose forgiveness. You don't understand how many things that you may have done that others that may not forgive you, including God. Including God. Forgiveness is one of the biggest steps to help you continue to move on. No matter what that person did to you, try your hardest to forgive. And it's really hard just saying that. It's easier said than done. But it's one of the biggest steps to help you not look back. Because that's what's going to stop you in life. If you're not forgiving, you're looking back. You feel me? You keep looking back on the same thing that made you not forgive. But that's it for that one. We're going to read the verse again. There have no temptation taking you but such as in common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Hey guys, on to the next one. Fasting. And we're not talking about fasting from not just food. Now, when it comes to fasting, it could be, some things a lot of people are not able to just cold turkey. Like, what if you were drunk, or what if you were addicted to something? You feel me? It's going to be hard cold turkey in it, but you got to learn to have patience in the tribulation. And patience go with all of this, for real. But patience in the tribulation could come in the form of fasting. Take literally a 24-hour break away from it and see if you want it the next day. You might want it the next day still, but keep practicing it. Keep practicing it. Keep practicing it. Practice is repetition. Repetition is practice. Eventually, you're going to not want to give in no more. It's the stronger you get with fasting. And you should put food with this a lot when it comes to fasting away from stuff, because first of all, food, your body is always telling you that you're hungry, no matter what. If you ate too much or if you ate too little, your body's gonna always tell you you're hungry. You fasting away from food is giving you that willpower. It's showing God that I can discipline myself and ignore my flesh. You see what I'm talking about? I can ignore my flesh, and it's gonna build up your spirit. Your spirit is your willpower. Your spirit is your strength. Your spirit is also your weakness. But God says that we are strong in our weakness. You're not strong when you're actually strong. You are strong when you are weak. Because you got to understand in life, when you're not feeling good, but you're able to still get up and do something, you're strong. You're showing that you got the strength to get through this tribulation. You don't show that you're strong by already being at your greatest. And that comes into the next thing of faith. But we got to read the verse first. Matthew chapter 6, 16 through 18, right? And this is also God telling us to fast in secret. Don't tell anybody that you fast. Don't even tell yourself that you fasted for real. Just do it. Just do it. And you also got to be aware when you fasting too. I'm going to tell you right after this verse though, what to be aware of. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thy head and wash thy face, that thou not appear not unto man to fast, but unto the Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. God will reward you openly for the things you do in secret, having a relationship with him in secret. Don't tell people about your prayers, because you also don't know who listening to your prayers. Satan. Don't tell people the things that you're working on, planning on. Just do it at all. You cannot in this life. We just talked about a verse, right? As a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. What does that even mean? He's looking to devour any and everyone who's the weak, who weak or strong, or he see that little slip in where he can consume a person, right? So if you not doing things in secret and you so open about everything, you know how he finna sneak in and use the next person to go against you who's not on the same level as you at all. That's what I'm saying. But God tells us, don't be as the hypocrites who's out here got a sad face. They telling you, man, I see this on threads all the time now, bro. We supposed to be fasting in secret, but everybody is doing stuff for attention, literally. And then people not even fasting for like spiritual reasons anymore. They just fasting, and you can just fast for health reasons and stuff like that. But a lot of people are just saying they fasting for the attention, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. Like, I just got done doing this, I feel so weak, but all glory to God. No, you're not supposed to do that. Give him that glory in secret, and he's going to reward you openly. People are going to be like, why do you seem so blessed? Why do you seem so happy? Why do you seem so uplifting? What lifts you? All glory to God. You don't tell them that, oh, I've been fasting, I've been going crazy, man. You should be doing that too. Now, you could, if you're trying to relate to somebody, if somebody asks and you know they're teaching them and things like that. But a lot of people are just doing it for the attention, so they can get the glorification. That's what people don't understand. And he also tells us, when you fast, wash your face and anoint thine head. Because you got to understand, when you keep your face moisturized and stuff, you're not looking, people can't even tell if you're fasting. You know, they don't understand at all. People don't pay attention to you that much, but they can see when you're not eating this stuff. They can literally see it. They can see it in your face. But this is why he tells us to wash our face and anoint thine head. But yeah, man, you gotta be careful of that. Do things in secrets, bro. And like I said, not just from food. You know, you can fast from habits. You can fast from your phone. You can fast from anything. Anything that's keep you in bondage. And very last but not least, to help you focus on God in the future, is pure faith. Through your trials and tribulations, everything that's going on, keep working, keep moving, keep going, no matter what. Have patience in your faith. Sometimes you're going to question God. Sometimes you're going to doubt him. Sometimes you're going to be like, you know, God, I'm doing everything you told me to do. I'm not seeing what's going on. But you got to learn to turn that around. I'm not seeing what's going on, God, but I'm going to keep going no matter what. One day, I believe in your promises. You know, say scriptures back to him. God likes when you listening. He likes to hold himself to his word and everything above that. You feel me? He acknowledges these things. He knows. But it's also a scripture that says, you know, when you pray, don't pray as the heathens do, repeating your prayers and stuff like that, like you not being heard and stuff like that. Faith without works is also dead. So when you having faith, you know, faith is just doing all these things, and, you know, it's hope without evidence of these things in action. Faith is doing all these things in action and showing God that I do have faith. This is why I'm fasting. I do have faith. This is why I'm forgiving. I do have faith. This is why I'm becoming more aware and, you know, taking accountability. I do have faith. This is why I'm trying to renew my mind. And it all requires patience. Now let's go ahead and read the verse, right? But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a redeemer of them that diligently seek him. He is a rewarder. And your faith will be tested at all times. You know, your life will become hard, unfortunately, because God is long suffering. But again, 1 Corinthians, there is no temptation taking you but such as is common to man. There is nothing that is out here that that's going to destroy you, and God is not going to give you more than you are able to handle. So if you see yourself handling so much, becoming homeless and everything like that, or anything of that nature, losing family, friends, watching so much go, I promise you, it's literally to better you. It's to better you in your life. You got to remember that everything is temporary in this life anyway. But you still gonna have feelings around it regardless, because you're human. But at the same time, it's literally to better you. And God's gonna show you these things was never even for you in the first place. Especially what I'm gonna bring to you. Everybody is not meant to have your blessings. And you gotta understand it also. Have faith though, regardless. A lot of people give up on faith as soon as they see one thing go wrong, and they go right back to their old ways of them trying to be in control of their life, building their way to what they want in life, which requires sin. Anything without God requires sin. Anything that you want without God requires sin. And I promise you, because you got to understand, God already told you there's two sides to this world, right? So if it's two sides to this world, good and evil, if you want money, you're either going to get it the good or the evil way. If you want a girlfriend, you either gonna get it the good or the evil way. Girlfriend or boyfriend, husband or wife, anything. You want a car, you gonna get it the good or evil way. So if you find yourself doing something good, okay, it could be God, working through you, working through your heart and things like that. But if you find yourself doing something bad to get what you want, you already know what side you had chosen. Have faith. But that's it for this video, man. Peace and blessings to everybody out there. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I do miss doing these. I love doing these. Stay patient, stay renewing your mind, stay aware of yourself, continue to forgive yourself, and fast from multiple things that are keeping you in bondage in these demonic strongholds. I'm gonna catch y'all later, man. Peace.